with Siobhan. So Siobhan, please unmute yourself.
See.
Oh, no. Siobhan, where are you? I had you. Yeah, there we are. If you could unmute yourself, please.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy. Hi,
Good
everyone.
to see you again.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me. And it's always just such a privilege for me to share a little bit about our story. So our son is autistic, and he was diagnosed 6 years ago. And immediately we jumped in with the biomedical approach, changing his diet, getting new therapies in place. And, for the last 6 years, it's been a massive undertaking. We did, see some gains, but also it took us 6 years to get here. And in October last year, I heard of the X39, and it was almost like bells went off in my head, because over the course of the last few years, 2 doctors actually said to me, listen, Siobhan, we need to rewrite Loden's genes. And I thought to myself, how are we going to do that? And then when I heard what the X39 can do, I just said to my husband, well, we don't need to sell a house or a car to try it, so we've got nothing to lose. And I'm just so happy that we did that, because literally within the first 5 days, it was earlier than that, but on day 5, I started receiving videos from his school where he was riding a plastic kicking bike for the first time. He's never done that at school before. His sentences were longer. He spoke more. He interacted with the kids in his class more. Even the way that he moved his body was different. And he actually said to his teacher, I love my plaster, just out of the blue. And that was quite something for me, because he's never communicated like that before. And then that night he had quite a bit of a tummy ache. And then he said to me, Mom, please put a plaster. And I said to him, do you feel better when you wear the plaster? And he said, yes. And I just knew that his body is just absolutely loving the X39. So he was on the X39 for a month. And then after that, I went in with the carnosine, Aeon, and glutathione, because I wanted to do a proper detox, because I know that his body really struggles to detoxify it by itself. And it's very important, especially with kiddies on the spectrum, to try and bring the inflammation down. And we did that roundabout for 3 weeks. And then after that, just to give you guys an idea, he loves water and he loves to swim. And he always just used to sit on the steps on the inside of the swimming pool. And it was literally 3 weeks after that specific protocol, my son started swimming. He literally dived into the swimming pool, swimming from the deep end all the way back to the steps. And he's never had a swimming lesson in his life. So it was just absolutely amazing. My husband's in the swimming pool, he's laughing, and I'm taking a video, and the tears are just like rolling down my eyes, because we've never had the privilege to see that. It was honestly just amazing. And from a mom's side that's been on a journey, some invasive treatments, some of them are traumatic, not just for the child, but for the mother as well. You're bringing the trauma down from a 10 to an absolute 0, because you're just putting on a patch. There's no trauma at all. So for us, it's just been amazing.
Siobhan, that is such wonderful news. And I know I've heard it before, but just hearing it again,
I know.
And I can feel your joy.
I know.
And I quite believe you were in tears, because in talking to other people with children in similar conditions, it's the same emotions that come up, because it affects the child, the family, and parents will do anything to help their children. So thank you so much, Siobhan.
No problem.
Everyone, I just want to ask Andrew and Sammy, do you think it's better to have all of us showing like this, or have one person showing full screen?
Oh.
And sorry?
Now, one person is fine, I think.
One person. So let me try and change that. Let's change that and see. There we are. Sammy, thanks. Okay. So some of the other names I have here is Chantal. Why don't we go with you next? And then in between, if you really want to catch my attention, or Sammy or Andrews, please let me know. So thank you. So Chantal, please unmute.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and good evening, Sandy. Thank you for the opportunity. Firstly, such an honor. So I was introduced by Siobhan, which is also my cousin, which is so dear and near to my heart, hearing that story every time because it makes my heart just warm from inside out. Firstly, when Siobhan called me last year, October, she was excited about this product. And I said, wait, stop. Like, she's like, but your mom has to patch. I'm like, but what about me? And like, I was like, well, what about me? Because I'm like fatigue and like my brain injury and all that I have. And then when she called me, I said the second time, I said, like, is this weird that I can feel this patch? Like, why do I feel this patch energetically? You speak about it, but I feel this patch, like I want it, but not now. And then she called me again this year. And so February, I joined with my husband. And I must say, this patch found me. I've been waiting for something. I've been through so many things, through accidents, brain injury, physically, childhood trauma. So there's so many things that's on a list that I've gone through, and like I've tried it, and I'm not really a pill person, like a medication person. So I've tried like a more natural route, which just is perfect because you just can patch yourself, firstly. So when I started, like I know what I'm not and I know what I am. I am not the one-day patch wonder. That I am not. You hear all these stories about everyone patching and like up and ready and going and everything is perfect. I'm like, that's not me. So I accepted that by the second day, like my eyes. So they say when you patch yourself, like there's like this list where your body goes, where it heals and restores. So I can honestly say I have a list of things that is like healing on like a natural, where I would say first my eyes, I noticed my eyes the second day, like, ooh, and 40 plus your eyes does decrease. So I was like, whoa, wait. And then the fourth day I could not see a thing. So now in the second month, I'm tomorrow going into my third month, my eyes is getting better. Because of my brain injury, I can only now feel that something is happening with my brain, like something is shifting. And the brain injury, I did not think is a thing. So now, and also when David says like it goes on the list. So every morning I'm like a child with a lucky packet going, ooh, what are we looking at today? Because then the first accident comes up where I have like this old wound and things like my cramps is back and like, I'm like, okay. And then tomorrow's like, okay, back pain. And then I have like the following things. So for me, it's not the same like everyone else. So I'm happy to say I'm a detox patcher. It's been taking 2 months, but I know that it's actually every day doing something in my body. And that's why they say at least 3 months, and then after 3 months, how old you are, like your decade. So I can't wait for the 4 months, but I have to say, every day I do feel lighter and brighter. So my energy levels is like I have my low days and my up days. And that's the main thing for me that I can say it's been improving. I feel lighter and brighter, and I want everyone to patch because it's not an injection, it's not pills. You just patch yourself and then you can just be free in who you are born to be. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, Chantal. Thank you. And thank you for mentioning that you're not the one patch wonder. And yet you've had these changes and you've been going through. I'm also not a one patch wonder. I'll mention that at the end. Thank you for that, because that helps everyone to understand how this works. And we'll touch on some of that. So thank you. You mentioned for everyone here, we use the patches for a minimum of 3 months. That's what David says. David also says for a month for every decade of your life. I add in my spin, and I'm happy to admit it's my spin. In working with the Chinese doctor, what I loved, what they believe, is if you want to change your life, whether you're 6, 16, or 90, you do it for 3 months, plus a month for every decade of your life. And that I'll chat about later again. So thank you, Chantal, and I'm delighted you're doing this. And I'm even more delighted that you actually understand the detox process and that you're working with your body and you understand what's happening. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. So why don't we have a gentleman now? So Andrew, over to you. Thanks, Chantal.
Thanks, Sandy. So I started patching on the 2nd or 3rd week in March, I think it was. And I actually started with the Eon patches because I couldn't afford the X39 at the time. And I was using it specifically for neuropathy pain in my feet, caused through diabetes. And I started off using one patch on my left foot, on the top of the foot, on the Wednesday. And then on the Thursday, I used the patch that I had taken off on the Wednesday and put that on my right foot and put a new patch on my left foot. And I did the same thing again on the Friday. And Saturday night was the first time that I actually put the patches on at night and not during the day. And I woke up on Sunday morning pain-free. So that was just using the Eon. And then a week ago, last week, Monday, I introduced X39. And I continued with the Eon, but I've been placing the Eon on a hernia that I have just a little bit above my groin, which is just more irritating than anything else. But I can feel as the day progresses, it becomes inflamed and it's really awkward, especially with driving and sitting. So I've been putting the Eon there and I've been wearing the X39 on the back of my neck. And I didn't notice anything sort of radical at first. The Eon was really helping with the inflammation around the hernia, and I got a lot more comfort. And on Sunday, I had to collect 40 bags of towel adhesive to take to site for preparation for Monday morning. And I didn't have anyone to assist me. So I had all the stuff loaded and I got to site and I had to carry these bags of tile adhesive from the vehicle to the office block that we're working in. It was about a 50-meter stretch. And I carried all 800 kilograms and I didn't break a sweat and I wasn't out of breath. And I can tell you, I could not have done that even a month ago. So I believe that's the X39 starting to take effect. My energy levels are up and I just feel a bit more sort of invigorated. And also I've had some really good sleep. I don't get much sleep. I'm a bit of a night owl, but the 6 hours that I have had for the last few nights has been a good 6-hour sleep. And I wake up feeling ready for the day. So I'm looking forward to see all the other wonderful things that my body will react to and respond to. But I'm glad I'm on the journey.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Sandy, can I add here, Andrew? When I look at pictures of you before and now, it's like you've had plastic surgery. You are a different person. So, I mean, even that is a testimony. I know you won't brag about that, but I mean, believe me that the change is day and night.
Yeah, I've lost 22 kilograms since November.
Your
So
hair's changed, color.
that's not patches yet. I can't give the patches credit for that. But I had to make some life choices and changes when I was diagnosed with diabetes. And the first thing to focus on was losing weight. And that's been part of the goal. And yeah, I'm sure with the X39, My mission with the X39 is to make sure I come off of all the medication for diabetes and cholesterol. I don't want to be using those things long term. So I've used them obviously as prescribed to get the blood sugar under control. When I was diagnosed, my average blood sugar was 11.98. I'm now averaging 5.8 to 6.1, and have been sort of stable like that for about almost 3 months. So yeah, I'm looking forward to X39 taking over and getting back into really good health.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you. And you know, just the additional good quality deep sleep, I'm sure you all agree, is so healing. So that feeds into it as well. And all I can say is moving all of that, Andrew, man, that's strong. So you're recovering quickly. And I agree with you. You're taking the meds, wow, just to get it under control. I'm convinced. We can never guarantee, as you all know, but I'm convinced you will reduce your medication and probably come off. So, and we've got a diabetic testimony later on. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And then Mel Gamble, I haven't met you, but I heard that you gave a superb testimony on the City Hop tour. So please unmute and tell us where you're from and then continue through. Let me try and find you. Maybe, Sammy, you quicker at this.
I unmuted myself. Hello, Sandy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks, everybody, for this chance to give a little bit of my story. Hi, Giselle. She's shouting, yay, Mel. Pops up. I'm new to technology. So to me, this is huge, being able to maneuver my way through the system. Okay. I'm 49 now, and at the age of 47, I felt so ill. I went to the doctor. I had blood tests done. Doctor did full spectrum of everything that he could possibly test. I thought I was dying. I felt so ill. And he said to me, it's not hormones. My hormones are very well balanced for my age. It was at the level of a woman of the age 30 to 35. I was like, that's fantastic. So what's wrong with me? It was turned out my inflammatory markers were sky high. He said to me, he usually sees these kinds of information in people ages late 60s to early 70s. And I was horrified. He said, that's now why you're in such pain. You have rheumatoid arthritis. And I said, but how did I get this? Where did this come from? And he proceeded to explain to me it was an autoimmune condition. So all this is a bit foreign to me up to that point. And he prescribed very, very serious anti-inflammatories, which I was very scared to take. You had to take it 3 days, another 3-day break, else you'll have a stomach bleed. So I'm like, whoopsie, that's scary. Anyway, I took moringa extract, which really brought the pain levels down, but the swelling didn't go down. So my body kept on, my knuckles especially, kept on getting worse and worse, to the point where I couldn't put my wedding band past the knuckle of my first knuckle of my ring finger. So for about 5 months prior to patching, I had these swollen hands. I couldn't open screw caps, bottles, lift anything heavier than a mug. It was horrible. So I started patching, but there was a few other things in my body wrong. That was my life. I didn't really think too much of it because it was just part of my life. I had no feelings on my hips since I was 18. I had these dead zones all over my body where I had no feeling on my skin, to the point that I would burn myself and not even notice I've burned myself on the element, on the kettle. That's how bad it was, and it was progressively getting worse. About 18 months prior patching, I had zero feeling in any one of my 10 toes. It was not a blood sugar issue. My blood sugar was absolutely normal. It's not circulation. My circulation is great, so doctors were a little bit baffled. Anyway, I started patching. I took also a profile picture of myself to see, because everybody said your wrinkles will disappear. So I took a profile picture to see in comparison. What I noticed from day 1 to 5 is that I have my face is a bit asymmetrical. So I have one eye that was a little bit squint. The pupil went in its own direction, and the more tired I got at the end of the day, it would just go off to its own department, which made focusing, concentration, all those things hard. Also, I struggled with extreme exhaustion, brain fog, and all those things. I would have a nap for an hour or two in the day before I started cooking dinner for my family. It was that bad. I would not take phone calls after lunchtime because I knew I would just speak nonsense to the people. So patching starts. Within the first 5 days, noticed my pupil pulled straight, and the pressure that I didn't realize I had behind my one eye started to decrease. Only when it decreased that I realized I had pressure there. Between week 4 and 5, I one day woke up and I thought, oh, I can move my hand without pain, and it looks quite skinny fingers. So put my wedding band on and it just slipped right on. I was just amazed. Up for the last 9 months, it's only been about 5 days that I couldn't wear it due to inflammation, but I mean, I can wear my ring. So at the end of week 5, one night, I was uncomfortable in my bed, and then I got up, fixed my bedding, and then I realized, why did I feel that? And then I realized that I could feel on my hips, and now the hip area was dead since I was 18. So over 30 years, I had no feeling there. And suddenly now I can feel, and I could feel tickles, light touch. A few days later, I felt an ant walk across an old burn mark, and I felt it. I was amazed. I couldn't believe it. I also realized that I could have conversations with people up to about 10 o'clock at night and still kind of make sense. Also realized that I didn't need to nap every single day anymore. I needed to just nap 2 days out of every week to week and a half that I've been busy. Another wonderful thing that I noticed was that my hearing started to improve, because I love the sound of birds. And when your hearing slowly decreases, you don't realize what you can't hear anymore, because it's a slow, gradual process. But then one day, I heard birds singing again for the first time. I was like, what? I missed that. I realized then my hearing improved, brain fog lifted, and so on. One of the things that I can also, I totally understand with, I think Naomi Chantal said about the detox. I'm also one of the detox people, because for the first 6 to 8 weeks, I was going through an emotional detox. I have a lot of post-traumatic stress. I had very, very bad things happen to me in my life. I'm not going to expand on that, but trauma goes and it sits in your cells and your body holds onto it. And that's also what I've learned since my diagnosis. Was it's also one of the big things where autoimmune comes from, is stress and trauma. So it's all linked together. Diet and all that can help it to come, get better, but it starts with sometimes trauma. And so I started to go through a very bad. It was bad because I suddenly remembered stuff that I didn't think that I remembered. But instead of just naturally repressing things, I started to think about it and process it. So my first 8 weeks on patches, I was the grumpiest person. I felt great with no pain and feeling in my skin and straight pupils and all those kind of great things, but I was moody because all these emotional things. And to today, I still go through these dips where I'm okay and then I catch a little dippy, but I get out of those things quicker. I pull myself together faster. It's like my brain is just developing and growing. It's almost like I'm a late bloomer and I've only now become an adult in a way. And it's the patches, 100% the patches. I've always tried to eat and better and live better, and I've also been aware since my diagnosis, very much so. Always, I've been in kind of semi-health industry, alternative health industry from my early 20s, but the patches are life-changing, and I never want to be without it again. So that's my story.
Thank you. You must feel like a new person completely with a whole new body.
Definitely, most definitely. I never want to feel like I used to anymore.
And
And
you know,
even now, if I, sorry,
no, carry on.
no, I said even now, my energy levels are up. When I do get sick, I get better so much quicker.
Yes.
There was a time in my life where if I catch a little anything sinusy, it would go straight to my chest, and I would have such bad chest infections that I would be bedridden. One time I was in bed for 3 months. My GP used to say to me, "Time for your bed again." He wouldn't even admit me to hospital because he said to me, "You'll be exposed too much over there. Go home, stay in bed." And that was my life for a few years that I got that sick. And now when I do get sick, I mean, I still get sick, but I pull out of it quicker, and I never go to the brink of death's door anymore. I just get sick. I feel miserable, but then I get better.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you mentioned two very important things as well. Where stuff was healing in your body that you were unaware was there. And
Definitely, yeah.
that's key for people to understand. We don't know what's happening in our bodies. And stress and trauma, my background's craniosacral therapy and quantum touch. It takes a massive toll on the body. So thank you.
It really does. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you. Aren't these so inspiring? They really, really are for me. I'm so happy every day when I hear these stories and see them. Thank you. Mina, yes, I see your name. Mina, won't you please unmute and tell us your story, please? I'm asking you to unmute, Mina.
Also sent a request.
Oh, thanks, Sammy.
She
Can
dropped
you?
off.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Hello everyone. I'm a diabetic for over 45 years now. Type 1 diabetic on insulin. And I started using the patches last year, August, say about September, not August, September. And it was so amazing because I was going through a lot of stress, trauma, and a lot of things. And when I first started using, I started with the Aeon patches and X39. And it was just amazing. From the second day onwards, I felt all the stress just being released from my body. And I felt so much calmer. It really helped. And then as time went, while I was using the X39 patches, I started noticing that my sugar levels started stabilizing. Eventually, I started going for park runs every Saturday morning, and I normally take my walks after meals and things like that. But this was amazing. I could actually skip 2 doses of insulin in a day and 2 meals, and my sugars were stable throughout the day, between 5.2 and 6.5 throughout the day. So it was amazing for me. And I never ever skipped my dose of insulin or my meals ever in the last 45 years. But I now can do that, and it's so amazing. It feels like I'm a new person. My life is completely different, and I can live a better life now. So It's really amazing. Besides that, I have a lot of other issues with my body. I have sciatica problems, plantar fasciitis. I had lumbar spondylosis twice. I have cervical spondylosis. And all these issues, I can see there's a major difference in it. The pain is so much better than before. These patches are like miracle patches for me. And that's all I can say. Can everyone hear me? Because I
Yes,
can't hear
yes.
myself.
And I'm just going to open here.
Okay. So, okay, as long as everyone can hear me. So
Yes.
I think these patches are just amazing. They miracle patches for me. And I can only say that people that are suffering with any kind of health issues must definitely try these patches, because I know it will make a major difference in their lives, major improvement in their health, and it will make their lives so much better. So thank you very much.
Nina, thank you, thank you. I'm absolutely delighted. And so what I want to say is not all diabetics get results in that time frame.
Oh, and I forgot to tell you one thing. The doctor also was amazed at my results of my sugar levels. He reduced my insulin doses. I was taking like 8 before each meal, and my long acting was like 18 before bedtime. He reduced it to 3 units from 8 before each meal, and say 3 to 4 units. And then for the long acting nighttime insulin, he reduced it to 12, but I have actually reduced it to 8 now, because it seems like it's better with 8. So I've reduced it much more, and it's amazing. It's just done wonders for me.
Thank you, thank you. That's excellent. And you still take your blood sugar regularly?
I do.
Yes.
Yes.
Good, good. Thank you, Nina. Thank you so much. Tanya, I see your hands up. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Sandy. I think I'll just share some, if I may, third-party testimonials. And
Yes.
I mean, I've got so many, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to tell you about the first one and the last one. So I've been patching for 3 months now, and prior to me receiving my patches, the person that sponsored me gave me some ice wave for a friend of mine that had a rotator cuff injury. And although we knew that it wouldn't heal the injury with ice wave, it would help with some severe pain, and he was struggling to even sleep. And so we patched him, and within 3 hours, he went down with an immense fever and started hallucinating during his sleep. And what seemed like a massive detox spiral for 5 days, where he was basically bedridden. But he got some really, really well-deserved sleep. And what occurred was, after the 5th day, when he was actually able to go back to his own home and, like, carry on with his life, he overcame 40 years worth of chronic constipation in a massive burst. His body just released everything. It was uncontrollable for him. And I know it sounds terrible, but he has had regular bowel movements ever since. And this is one ice wave patch.
And it's an ice wave.
Yes. I'm like, what is ice wave doing?
I would never have expected.
When I told this to some of the other people within LifeWave, they just nodded. So I'm sure that in the years to come, I'm going to understand from more testimonials. But that for me was just phenomenal. And then just a really good story for us as brand partners and our hope for more medical personnel in the very mainstream to kind of just have an opening to consider X39 is I have a patient of mine, I've been treating her for 15 years, and she has regularly been going to a psychiatrist for a whole host of medication, and she is 87 years old. She has some pain in her jaw and in her mouth that causes her not to be able to eat very well, which is obviously not great when you are at that age. And she's also not having very good side effects as a result of the pain medication that he's actually prescribed to her. And I usually go along to her appointments with the psychiatrist, and I said to him, there is another option. And I didn't say any name of any brand. I just said it's low-level light therapy. It's non-transdermal. It's a patch she has to wear. Could we try it? And he was so on board. He said, there's no chemicals in it. It's not going to interact with any of her medication. He says, like, yes, let's absolutely do that. And then he sent her for the baseline blood work that Dr. Ulafemia suggested.
Oh,
So
yes.
now we have a beautiful case study coming our way.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's super. Thanks. And that's very well put to the doctor. We do have a medical person here tonight. So thank you, Tanya. Thank you. And I'm going to invite this medical person as the next one, Shelley Ann. Now, Shelley Ann, by all means, correct me if I'm wrong. She is a cum laude master's psychologist. So, may we have your testimony, please?
Well, actually, I'm a cum laude executive coach in industrial and organizational psychology. So
I knew I didn't get it perfectly right. Thank you.
Thank
you, Shelley.
In the Department of Industrial and Organizational Psychology. Thanks so much, Sandy, for the invitation to share. So I had no expectations when I went onto the patches. I've been on them for 6 months, and I'd kind of given up. I had a terrible operation. I had 2 bunions and 4 neuromas removed in 2019, and I ended up in a wheelchair for 6 months and had to learn to walk again. And I was told that my feet would sort of remain a bit wooden and very numb because of the nerve work that had been done, and the neuromas are actually quite severe. Anyway, so that happened. Anyway, I was introduced to the patches, and I'd just learned to live with the challenge and just get on with it. Also suffering from fibromyalgia, which complicated the situation because I really needed to exercise. I do Pilates and biokinetics. Anyway, cut a long story short, I put my patch on for the first time and my feet went bright red. The circulation came back immediately, and over the last 6 months, my feet have started to work properly. They roll, I walk. I'm walking more like a normal person. My biokineticist, who's been working with me for the last 15 years, I suffer from a triple scoliosis. She said my back has started to mobilize like she's never seen before. And she's never seen it before. And my joints and everything continue to loosen up, and I'm becoming more and more agile. I'm actually 66. So my result was actually immediate, very unexpected, but just over the 6 months, so many other things have also improved. I'm quite allergic. I had an adrenal collapse while doing the degree. So there's been a lot of improvement in terms of my brain fog, to the extent that I wrote a journal article in a day versus 3 to 6 months. I was actually quite astounded. It had to be done, and I just patched myself and got on with it. And I honestly believe the patches just somehow balanced me. And I'd been on them for nearly 6 months when I had to do this exercise unexpectedly. But it happened. And then just quite out of the blue, I was given a lovely Clarins mascara, but I never wear makeup. I haven't worn makeup in the last 20 odd years because of allergies. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try the mascara. And I had no reaction whatsoever. And I'm wearing it tonight. You can't
Whole new person again.
You can't see it, but I thought I'm just going to stick it on every day and see what happens, and nothing's happened.
Excellent,
My
excellent.
eyes don't itch, they don't scratch, but my skin has changed, my body has changed, my mental acuity continues to improve. It's unusual to do a master's degree, perhaps at my age, but nevertheless, I did it. And I just think the patches have made a real difference and they've been a real gift. So I'm very grateful to Joan, who introduced me. And I'm very grateful to Sandy just for all the encouragement.
Thank you,
Thank
Shelley.
you. Thank you.
I'm so pleased you persevered. And interesting, I think Shelley Ann did the right thing. No expectations. And then you're surprised as things start to happen. So thank you, Shelley Ann. That's so happy for you. I really am. And then may I call on Mary Lynn? We'll get through the whoever and then see if there are any more. And Tanya, once again, thank you for stepping in. I'll tell you a story afterwards about the bowel movements. So, Mary Lynn, where are you? I did see
I'm not
you.
finding her. Sorry.
Oh, you're not on. Okay. Charlene, may I ask you to unmute, please? I definitely saw Charlene. I thought I saw
Not
Mary
seen
Lynn. Charlene, you were on. Oh dear. Okay. So, Elise, may I call on you and Jackie, please?
Okay. No,
Yes.
You muted yourself again, please. Okay.
Okay.
Hear you now?
yeah. Tap to speak and then it just went off again. All right. Am I on?
Yes,
you
you're on.
Okay. So Jackie's my daughter. She's turning 50 in June. And she was born with brain damage. Well, she got it on her 3rd day. In the baby room, they had to suck the lungs out and declared that she's got 30% brain damage. For 49 years, we looked for a solution. We tried literally everything. I went from one pre-meeting, from one neurologist, from one alternative solution. We just did everything. She was on the ketogenic diet for 3 years and cortisone for 3 years. And we just went through one thing after another, trying to get rid of petit mole, grand mole, and 3 per second different epileptic seizures. Couldn't walk very well. She was in the lowest grade special school. They tried in the Transvalia Epileptic School, but they said no, she can't do it there. So, and there was no hope. And we even did adult onset classes to read, and no hope. And early last year, Johnny Beitel introduced me to the LifeWave patches, and I got some of it to sell for the slimming pills, slimming patches, instead of slimming pills for people who couldn't drink the pills. And then I saw all the testimonials on the Telegram group. And I saw, but there's a lot of stuff here for epileptic fits. And I thought, I'm going to just try it on Jackie and see what happens. And she can tell you the rest of the story.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, Jackie. Yes.
Okay. I, yes, like Mom said, I used to get bad attacks and stuff. I also used to get terrible foot spasms and everything. And now, my attacks are down to 0, literally. I've cut my lunch pill out. I can read every word, like Washington, D.C., Phoenix, Arizona, Austin, Texas, Special Olympics. I can walk 4 kilometers in our complex, and I'm loving the patches. I'm absolutely loving them, and they've changed my life for the better. And I've had a brain upgrade big time.
That's wonderful, Jackie. And you know, I've spoken to you in person a few times. And I mean, at least didn't the doctors say that Jackie wouldn't be able to get past 3-letter words?
Yep.
Yeah.
And not just the doctors, the adult literacy classes and the school. So, and the physiotherapists and and basically the doctor, the neurologist said she should be institutionalized at the age of 4. They already said, look, we're never getting anywhere with all the therapies. Let's just do that.
And now look at me.
Exactly, Jackie. Exactly. Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Jackie. Doesn't this make your heart sing? All of this really, really does. Thank you very, very much.
Sandy, sorry, Charlene is online. It's Edward and Charlene. So they are.
Yes, yes. Charlene, please.
Hi.
Hi, Charlene.
Thanks, Sammy. I did try and unmute earlier, but it didn't want to allow me. Yes, thank you so much, Sandy, for the opportunity to share my testimony. I think from our side, I had like a whole shopping list full of issues that I had. So I think for us, it will be before the accident. I actually suffered badly with depression. I also suffered with bipolar disorder. And then to top it all off, I was actually in a horrific car accident. And yeah, sorry, it's quite emotional though. Sorry. And yes, due to the car accident, I was then actually diagnosed with PTSD, as well as very bad anxiety, as well as epilepsy. And for somebody that was very independent and a very strong person to now all of a sudden have epilepsy and brain fog, like there's no words that can actually explain what it actually does to a person. I mean, my job that I used to do every single day for almost 18 years, I couldn't remember the basics. I couldn't remember what to do on a daily basis. I couldn't drive anymore. And as a mom with 4 boys, it does get quite challenging. So it didn't just affect my life, but it also affected our whole family. I normally joke and I say my kids got their mom back. And to be very honest, they got more than their mom back, because before my accident, I had a bunch of scruffies lost. And then after the car accident, I had more. And I actually came across Giselle's post with these patches. And I was like, yeah, I can't see how a little patch is going to make the world's difference and actually help me. Which is quite funny, because after almost patching for a year, I then had an aha moment. It's quite funny how we believe in small little pills that can help us, but we couldn't believe in a patch. Like it doesn't make sense. So it's quite shocking. But yes, I had the aha moment. And yes, I think, again, also not one day one patch wonder. Ours became actually after 5 days. So I was on schedule 5 painkillers 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And I was on Epilin 6 milligrams.
600 was it?
Sorry, 600 milligrams twice a day. Now, I mean, I'm no doctor, but it's quite strong. And yes, on day 5, I put all my pain medication, my schedule 5 pain medication down. I did also put my Epilin medicine down. Now, I'm no doctor, and I'm not saying, I do get a lot of questions for people asking me, must they put their medication down? And we all adults, so we all make decisions for ourselves. For me personally, I did put my medication down because even with my medication, I still got epilepsy. Even with my medication, I was still in pain. Even with my medication, I still had anxiety, PTSD, depression, all of it. So for me, I might as well put it down because I'm still getting it in anyway. And day 5, I could put it all down. I had not had one epileptic seizure since June last year, which is absolutely phenomenal. I can drive again. It's very emotional, yes. And I actually have a personality. My kids have got a better version of a mom. I mean, I don't recognize myself. My husband doesn't. My kids doesn't. It has really, really changed our lives. And I cannot say thank you enough for Giselle posting the post and for us seeing it. It's really changed our lives. So I can just tell everybody, just keep on doing it, have faith, and just keep going.
Thank you so much, Charlene. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, I'm delighted with this. And Edward, you must be more than delighted with your new wife. I can't hear you.
I said I'm over the moon excited. This present stage, I've got somebody else that can go to the shop and buy bread.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Sandy.
Charlene. Thanks,
Thanks.
Edward. I've just noticed the time, so we're going to close with the last 2. So Pachamama, and then we'll close with Rob, which is a slightly longer one. Thank you. Where are you, Pachamama? Are you on?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Okay. I had a pretty traumatic
I think your
childhood,
bandwidth is a
and
bit low.
by the age of 14, I was depressed. I don't know. Is anything changing?
Better?
Yes, that's better. You were breaking up.
Okay. So yes, at the age of 14, I was depressed. At the age of 26, I had quite a traumatic head injury. And then my health wasn't great. I ended up with quite bad health, but more than that, the depression was extreme. My days were a nightmare, and anxiety, panic attacks. I basically didn't feel like living at all. As well as my health going down, and the pain that I was experiencing. And then my friend, my beautiful, closest, dearest friend, Juliet Blanche, said to me, I think we've got something that can maybe help you. So I ordered the brain protocol patches, which was the X49 for 2 weeks and the carnosine for 2 weeks. Well, after the first 2 weeks on the Eon, my entire life just changed. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wow, life's okay. I want to experience more of this. What's going on? After 3 weeks, I could breathe properly, because I had the beginning stages of emphysema, and I could breathe full lungfuls of air, and not cough. My back pain went, and heart palpitations went, my anxiety, my chronic fatigue left, and my entire life just changed. And I'm just so grateful because, yeah, I enjoy every day. I want to live, and I'm happy, and I'm pain-free. And I'm so grateful to Juliet, and I'm so grateful to LifeWave, and I'm so grateful to this incredible community, this family that we have. It's just quite astounding. And I'm so grateful to David Schmidt for giving me my life. So, yeah, that's me.
Thank
Happy
you
girl.
so much.
Thank you.
And you know, you've just voiced what I was thinking. We live in gratitude for David and everything else. And we'll use that in closing. Thank you, Pachamama. I am so happy for you. And I'm sure you're going to continue to find more improvements. Thank you. So, Rob, let's close with you. I'm keen to hear your story.
Hi there, everybody. My name's Rob. I'm 69 in a few months' time. I've had a pretty healthy life. I let my health slide slightly, and about 18 months ago, I got hit for a 6. I've been told my talk, and I'm going to do it as fast as I can, because, are you breaking up?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now you can.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I've entitled it My 11 Milestones to Health. What happened to me, I wouldn't wish on anybody. It started at an elephant park. We had a photographic trip for 2 days. And we were busy packing up the camp. And I did what I always do. I picked up my camping fridge freezer to put in the back of the car. And as I got to the car, my knees collapsed. I went down. I almost vomited from the pain. Lower back, incredibly sore. I understand picking up things and all that. I don't think I did anything wrong. The muscles just collapsed. And that led to milestone number 2. 9 months of sleeping at 45 degrees on a propped up continental pillow. My wife knew if she touched me without me knowing, I would hit her. I was so sore. And anyway, the lower back pain got worse and worse, went to chiropractors. That led to a long weekend. Nobody could help me on the Thursday morning before the long weekend. Everybody was gone. And they suggested I go into OTC, over-the-counter medicine from the pharmacy. Anyway, cut a long story short, I had 12 out of 37 side effects. I crashed health-wise, and one morning, it was Monday morning, I went into the bathroom, I turned around, and my little dog was behind me, and I went down like a ton of bricks. You name it, whatever corner I could hit in that bathroom, I hit before I plowed into the floor, and I heard, and I knew something had gone in my back. But anyway, I went back to the car, and he took an X-ray and said, I'm sending you to the neurosurgeon. So anyway, I got to the neurosurgeon, and he did some scans and said, I'm sending you to the urologist. I said, but what about my spine? Because I've got a crushed vertebra badly. And he says, no, he's not touching it. You go to the urologist. I went to the urologist. Took me some time to get there. I was in absolute agony. for quite a few weeks, and resulted in 4 pains. I had the lower back muscles. I had an alimentary canal that was swollen out of all proportion. I had a bust spine or a vertebra, and a bit of an interaction while I was sitting down broke the rib that was on the broken spine vertebra. So I had 4 pains, and each one of them was 10 out of 10. I walked into hospital twice in a month. I walked out only once. I became wheelchair candidate for getting out of hospital, and I became a bedridden cripple. My friends who came to see me in hospital, they didn't say it to me, but it was said afterwards by 2 or 3 good friends that the look in his eyes, he's not going to make it. Anyway, I was in hospital, and then another long weekend came along, and I was told I have to leave hospital. So I said, why? No, it's long weekend, and 99% of all the staff are leaving hospital. And the few that can't go anywhere stay in hospital. So a very special daughter-in-law of mine, Lindsay, had come to see me that morning. And eventually it was decided she's taking me home in absolute agony. Got home, got into the bed, and I just lay there. I was racked with pain. 4 by 10 out of 10 pains. And everyone was a pain train that came down the track. And I knew when one pain train came down the track, there were 3 on its tail, and they all hit me at once. The last night that I was in hospital before the long weekend, my 3 kids who lived in PE with me, not with me, but they were within 5 k's of me, came to see me, and I saw the light coming down the tunnel. And they were horrified at the pain I went through. I asked for painkillers, of which I was on the worst available. And I was told, no, you've got, Mr. Rob, you have to go another 3 hours before we can give you anything. So anyway, I managed to override the pain. And the next day, Lindsay took me home. And the Friday morning came, I was lying in bed, 45 degrees, not happy at all. And I had this brutal pain. And I had a choice, brutal pain, or I have to stick with my vision. And my vision basically goes, without a vision, you perish. And I explained it to you the other day what it was. I'm not going to go into that detail now. But as a believer in Christ, I had a vision that I was going to beat this. It doesn't matter what came against me, I would beat it, because there are things I still have to do. I have to meet people, I have to go to Africa, I've got adventures to do, diving to do, etc., etc. And I'm still working on for a long time. So I'm lying on my bed, and in walks a very long-time family friend couple, the Reeds. And it's amazing how things work out. Rose had gone to gym, and she saw a lady walking out with a white tracksuit on. It said life waves and something about stem cells. So Rose spoke to her, and that's how she got to know the patch lady. And she went on the course. She learned all about stem cells, and a few days after that, she came to visit me with her husband as soon as I was in my first day out of hospital. said, Rob, you need these patches. I said, what patches? Stem cells. I said, okay, I'm a biochemist. I know what they are. I don't know what they do. But anyway, I didn't have a choice. She got on the phone and she phoned the patch lady. And in 20 minutes, Tonya arrived. Yeah, the Tonya. And the patch lady came in and patched me. I won't go into exactly what all was done. But for the pain, I had the ice wave, I had Aeon put on, and a day and a half later, I got X39, the famous X39. Well, nothing much happened. And anyway, Tanya was milestone number 8. No, number 9 was the reactivation of my health. I didn't realize stem cells were doing it. I was fighting for my health, just like in my life too. And I went into milestone number 9, which was disease reversal. Day 3, after the X39 went on, for those people who don't know what X39 is, it's the 39th experimental patch that Dave made, specifically to reverse the effects of aging. And it reactivates your stem cells in your body. And they go into preventive maintenance and a whole host of things. Anyway, I was amazed at what happened over the next few days. Day 3, my wife was going to work. It was dark outside. And I found I could sit up in bed on my own. I hadn't been able to do it on my own for 9 months. On day 4, once again, she was getting ready to go to work. And I needed the cream. My skin was dry and I couldn't reach it. It had been moved too far away from my bedside. And I just felt this surge of energy, and I sat up and I could move my legs around. And internet could be unstable. But anyway, I put my feet down on the ground and I stood up for the first time on my own. That was day 4. Day 6, I did what I hadn't done in 9 months. My wife was getting ready in the house somewhere once again. And I found I could lie down flat on my back for the first time and sit up. Anyway, it got to day 10. And that's the day the ice waves kicked in 100%. And I said goodbye to 44 by 10 pain. It was gone and it never came back. It took 10 days. And it doesn't stop there. And day 20, I woke up. I've always had a dry skin. I've spent a lot of time in the sun. I dive, I rock climb and all of that. And my forehead was greasy and oily. And I looked under my nails and there's dry skin mixed in with the oil. I thought, what is going on? And over the next 2 days, my whole face peeled. I had a piece of skin coming off underneath here. I actually got my wife to come and pull off a piece about that size from the stubble under my chin. And when it came off, it was thick. And I felt underneath here. I said, Rose, this must be medium rare steak because there's no skin left there. There can't be any. And over the next 2-3 days, I ended up with this juvenile skin over my face, forehead, around the ears, under the chin. And slowly the collagen was built up, and my wrinkles, like, at that time, like 60–70% disappeared with the new skin. It's gone to about 90% that's disappeared. My neck's tensing up, and what I didn't mention earlier is not only was it the 4 pains, but it was prostate cancer. Oh my goodness. Now I've got cancer. So I started doing extra things, nutrition. I deparasitized myself. My varsity friends, my high school friends, all started praying for me, and they're all over the world. And I had patches. So I had 4 things that were working for me. So I couldn't scientifically say that Life Waves was the answer. So I had a problem, and I need to know what is the real cause that was changing my life. At that same time, my hair on my forehead, on my head, which was bald for many years, started growing. Not as fast as Tanya's husband, so I nearly asked for my money back, but I didn't. And it is now growing. I've got quite a bit of hair growing up here, which I'm quite excited about. My nails grow faster, and I got my proof as to where Life Waves fitted in. It fitted into number 2. Number 1 was my God who kept me alive through this whole thing, and everyone thought I would most likely die. However, my mom had had 2 botched shoulder operations and 1 neurosurgeon botched up spine operation. She had had agony in her body for about 20 years, 25 years. She was with my dad while he was dying, helping him. That hurt her back even more. Same with my brother. And I put her on 2 patches. My mom beat me. At 92 years old, walking with a little walker, her pain disappeared in 2 days on X39. I've now got her going for about 3 weeks now on Aeon and X39. She's climbing up the car. She's stronger. I would say her brain fog has disappeared, or has largely gone backwards. And the people in her old age home where she stays, they said, oh, she's going to be the next one for going into a special care. Now they reckon, no, that's not going to happen because she's walking right at the walker all over the place. So she was one proof of what happened. Rose Reed's husband wrecked his foot. He looked like his foot looked like an overinflated motorbike tire. And it was about 6 days, 7 days, the swelling was gone, it had dropped down, all the blackness had gone. And it was then that I knew Life Waves was number 2 reason. God 1, Life Waves was number 2, and everything else fell in behind it. Good diet, etc., etc., etc. So, what I want to leave with you all is that the patches are a one world product. There is no competitor, there's no comparison in the world to this product. All the medicine I've used in my whole life isn't a patch on David Schmidt's patches. And it is the most underrated technology, as far as I'm concerned, in the world, or I can actually say the most underrated technology coupled into a patch. And in closing, my PSA in 2 months dropped from, and I'm too embarrassed to say how high it was. Most doctors, when they hear my PSA, they laugh. And I say, it's not possible. I was there.
Tell us.
I'm going to
Tell
cut
us.
now. I'm at 1.3 now. 50% of tinnitus gone. Nails growing faster, hair growing faster. Allergies have largely disappeared. I'm stronger and faster. When I exercise, I don't get lactic acid, and my injuries take 6 to 8 days for the scabs to fall off. I am amazed. The miracle, a lot of people said, Rob, what happened to you was a miracle. It was not. It was amazing. The miracle was Dave Schmidt inventing the patch. What I experienced was amazing. And thanks to Dave and to Tanya and to all the people that have been standing around me ever since. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you for all of that. And what an astounding story with everything. And I agree with you with what you've done. You know, your faith, the patches, diet, all of that. So thank you very, very much. And Dipuo, may I ask you to join us on the next testimony, because I've got another meeting at 9:30. So if we could hold that, I'd love to hear it, but another time. So thank you. So really, I'd just like to say and reiterate, we are so grateful to David, the technology, and everyone in LifeWave, and so happy that everyone has shared. And to me, it's about share, share, share. And I would like to close with a disclaimer. So you've all heard these wonderful testimonies. You can hear it. People are talking from the heart. We can feel their emotions. We can feel what they're feeling. And the disclaimer is, LifeWave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. Look at the results. And it's non-invasive therapy. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy your week. Share with everyone, but come from the heart, what's best for everyone else. Thank you. Chris will be posting the recording. So just give him a day or so. He's on the hop. And you can share it with everyone. Thank you for all who shared, and thank you for everyone for being here. I am so grateful to everyone. Thank you, and good night, and God bless.